Recently, I've been accused of two things: curating affordable watch lists that aren't actually affordable, and leaning too hard into AliExpress nonsense. I can't win for trying. So here's a list of genuinely cool watches, no AliExpress specials, no Seiko, Citizen, Casio or Timex. In fact, nothing from the usual suspects, all for under £100. There, happy now? Sekonda might sound like the unfortunate byproduct of Ivan hooking up with Yuki after one too many vodka sake chasers, yet despite the name, its roots aren't in Moscow or Tokyo, but in 1960s Britain. Back then, they were essentially watch smugglers, importing chunky Soviet beaters, slapping a new badge on and selling them to the British public who were still trying to figure out how colour TV worked. Eventually, they graduated to the whole British-designed, Hong Kong manufactured shtick, giving the working man a taste of champagne styling with lager shandy budget. Fast forward to today, and Sekonda's main business model is cosplay. Original designs? Forget it. Haute horology? You're having a laugh. What you will get is a bargain bin doppelganger of something much fancier. Basically, AliExpress with a fake moustache and a semi-respectable British accent. But at least the name carries some kind of nostalgic credibility. Yes, the nostalgic memories of standing outside Argos in a northern town centre pretending to browse the catalogue while trying to ignore the two crackheads duking it out across the road over half a bottle of cheap cider. But still, nostalgia all the same. I could have picked from hundreds of Sekonda options clogging up the discount catalogues like old frying pan oil in a sink cube end. But for me, this Velocity chronograph is the brand's best bang-for-buck attempt. Yes, it's a bargain bin tribute act to a certain Swiss go-faster chronograph we're not supposed to mention, but it does at least throw in a bit of its own flair, just enough that you can pretend you chose it, rather than settle for the cheaper version of the one you couldn't afford. We both know it's a lie, but fine. Let's shove that truth in the same drawer as your unopened gym membership and never talk about it again. The Velocity is their attempt at a serious racing chronograph. The kind of watch that wants you to believe it's ready for the racetrack, when in reality it's more suited to timing how long you have left on the parking meter whilst you wait for your missus to try on every watch in the shop. It's got a tachymeter bezel, a trio of subdials and a perforated racing strap. All the visual cues that whisper motorsport pedigree, while the quartz movement underneath shrugs and mutters, "Nah mate, I'm just here for convenience." And that's the charm really. It's not a refined driving instrument or a rival to the Swiss chronos it's clearly been peaking at. It's a budget-friendly bit of theatre. A watch for someone who wants the look of precision engineering without the actual cost, hassle or the actual precision engineering. It's bold, it's shameless and it knows exactly what it is. Fast fashion with a tachymeter scale. What you get is a huge 45mm steel slab measuring 13mm thick. A quartz chronograph movement, a mineral crystal, the choice of leather, steel or canvas straps, and a whoppingly pathetic 50 metres of water resistance. All very basic, but starting at just £45, it's hard to complain. At that price, you're not buying horology, you're buying plausible deniability. A watch that says, yeah, I'm cheap, yeah, I could have bought a Casio, but I'm eccentric. All very British. Professional grade dive watches are usually reserved for the Japanese heavyweights. Seiko, Citizen, Orient. The sort of names that will give you 200 or 300 metre rating, but only have to slip in a few cut corners under the rug. Sapphire crystal? Nah, have some hard legs. Solid end links? Don't be greedy. And if you want the whole package, no shortcuts, no plastic bits dressed as metal, that's Swiss turf. They'll give you what you want, sure, but only after extracting a sum of at least 4 digits, plus a vague sense of shame that you actually fell for it. So, a 500 metre automatic diver with no obvious sacrifices for under 100 quid? That should be a rhetorical question. The kind where the punchline is, stop wasting my time. And yet, along comes Ratio, a Singaporean microbrand with the audacity of someone blagging their way into a Geneva black tie gala, wearing a £20 rental tux and strutting around like they belong there. The brazenness is almost offensive, But then you look at the spec sheet and suddenly you're wondering if maybe they've actually pulled it off. On paper, the Freediver Professional 500 metres is absurd value. You're looking at a 42mm stainless steel case, 30mm thick, housing a Miyota 8215 movement, capped with a sapphire crystal, a screw down crown at the 4 o'clock position, and that headline fully pressure tested 500 metres of water resistance. It's topped with a unidirectional bezel and a proper rubber strap made for actual diving, not desk duty. It's an unrepentant tool rather than a trinket. The steel bezel is chunky to the point of comedy, the dial is all business, and the oversized arrow hand dominates like it's auditioning for a motorway roadworks hazard sign. The loom plots are massive and the tech says professional in case you were in any doubt. And the whole thing looks like it was built to be dropped off an oil rig without complaint. It's heavy, blunt, and not trying to be fashionable. But for under £100, you're not buying refinement, you're buying a genuine, no-nonsense dive instrument that'll embarrass a submariner for functionality and a citizen for price at the same time. Accurist, a brand that's somehow world-renowned in the UK, yet practically invisible to the rest of the planet. The watch that your dad wheeled out for weddings, the only heirloom your nan bothered to leave you, and the one your Uncle Dave insists is just as good as a Rolex, usually before declaring the Austin Montego superior to a BMW 3 Series. They've been knocking about since the 1940s, dodging the quartz crisis, fashion crimes, and the 90s mania of stamping water-resistant 30 metres on anything with hands. Accurist is the magnolia paint of British watchmaking, reliable, unsexy, and still inexplicably on every buy-to-let landlord's shopping list long after the stereotypes have stopped being funny. Yet here they are, still ticking and flogging nostalgia, the sort that reeks faintly of brute aftershave and baby sham. But honestly, I absolutely love Accurist. Well, most of them. Some are a bit enthusiastic. But for this list, this one deserves the crown for sheer practicality for not a lot of money. They're everyday. 40mm of stainless steel, sapphire glass, quartz movements, all sensible bits you actually need, none of the bits you don't. You can have it on a bracelet for a bit of a glow up, or a leather strap if you want to look like you spend your afternoons moonlighting as a Year 7 geography teacher. The dials come in black, blue, green or silver, polite, unoffensive and perfect for blending in. Then there's a lovely turquoise dial and even a gold-coloured PVD case with matching accents. Still, nothing daft enough for the darts team to accuse you of being a ponce when you stroll into the Red Lion for a Friday night competition. But enough for those of us who still like to pretend we have a bit of a personality. It's water resistant to 50 metres, that's all you need to know. Quartz keeps it running without bothering you for winding, it just sits there quietly doing its job. No gimmicks, no fake heritage, no complications you'll never use. No moon phase nonsense, because if you really want to know the phase of the moon, just bloody look up at it. And that's the genius of it. You glance at it, it tells the time, and then you get on with your life. Unlike the rest of us, panicking over emails, deadlines, and whether the milk has gone off. It's exactly the sort of watch that's hard to get annoyed at. And the best part, it does all this for less than £100. And you can't really argue with that. If Seiko is the sensible older brother who actually turns up on time, and Orient is the eccentric sister you only see once a year at Grandma's birthday, then Lorus is the tearaway younger sibling who promises to behave, even offers to help out with the music, and then shows up at the party with 36 cans of cheap, extra strong lager and a record box full of happy hardcore and 90s rave bangers instead of Grandma's favourite 50s classics. Everyone pretends to hate them, but secretly, most of us would rather hear classic trance than Cliff Richard. And the only difference between cheap lager and expensive plonk? Waking up with a healthier bank balance the next morning. In 1969, Seiko gave us the 6139 Pogue, a watch so important it literally went to space. The first automatic chronograph in orbit, worn by Colonel William Pogue himself on Skylab 4. Easy to say, easy to remember, and cemented in history. Fast forward to today, and Lorus has decided to dip into the family photo album. Enter the Lorus RL441BX9, a name that just rolls off the tongue as easily as Pogue, as long as you're secretly a barcode scanner. Still, the watch itself is far more charming than its label. The Lorus lifts the Pogue silhouette almost wholesale. That retro 43mm stainless steel cushion case, a short 46mm lug-to-lug, a hardlex crystal and a Jubilee bracelet that'll jingle like loose change. But instead of a chronograph calibre, you get the old reliable 7S26 in disguise, here called the Y676. It won't hack, it won't hand-wind, but it'll outlast your will to argue about it on forums. The dial is where Lorus puts on its own spin. Available in blue or green with a metallic sunburst finish, each gets a playful second hand. Orange on the blue, yellow on the green. It's not the Pepsi chrono of '69, but the spirit is there, bold, colourful and unashamedly retro. The day and date sit at 3 o'clock, the bezel is purely decorative and you get 100 metres of water resistance just in case you fancy a swim. So no, it's not a Pogue reissue, it's the straight-to-DVD remake. Familiar outline, cheaper actors, but still surprisingly watchable after a few beers, especially when it's currently on sale for just 75 quid. Let's hit pause on the video because it's giveaway time. I run a members only giveaway where I give away all the review pieces I get sent, as well as offer early access to videos, exclusive content and a good old chinwag in the members posts. Fancy a shot at multiple watches every month? Just tap that join button below or hit the link in the description. The money from the members goes directly to the costs involved in getting the watches to the winners. The next giveaway is for the Addies Dive 2014 and the winner will be announced on Friday the 3rd of October. So join now for the chance to grab this and many other watches. Oh, and if you still haven't entered the free 7,500 subscriber giveaway, then the link is in the description. Alright, shameless promotion over, let's get back to the video. Imagine starting your own watch brand. You nail the tool watch designs, get the materials right, pack in the features, basically you're on a roll. Then you ask ChatGPT to come up with a name, fat finger the word watch and blindly pick the first option it spits out. By the time you realise, it's too late. No time to start over, so you plough on, paying some random 14-year-old on Fiverr to design a logo by typing the name in a basic sans serif font and drawing a rectangle around it. Well, imagine no more, because that, allegedly, is how depth charge came to be. Sure, there was some kind of thinking behind the name, but it missed the mark by miles. It's like if a pilot's watch brand decided to call themselves Air-Launched Cruise Missile. Technically it works, but you wouldn't, would you? And then there's the watch itself, the Charge GMT. What? You didn't think they'd suddenly get creative with their naming, did you? It's 42mm of stainless steel, solidly built and powered by a Seiko NH34 GMT movement. For a brand that clearly threw the naming and logo together in 5 minutes, it's impressive that they didn't skimp on the movement. The watch comes in 3 colours, each with its own personality, whether you buy into it or not. The green dial is aggressively trying to be adventurous, the white dial leans into the classic Explorer 2 look, and the blue dial, well, it's trying to inject a bit of life without really committing to anything. All 3 come with the same specs except for the bezel inserts. Ceramic for the blue and green, stainless steel for the white, sapphire crystal, 200 metres water resistance and a solid steel bracelet. It's a dive watch on paper and in function, even if the rest of the brand sometimes seems to exist in a parallel universe. At roughly £74, the Charge GMT punches well above its weight. A proper Seiko GMT movement inside a robust case, ceramic bezel and sapphire crystal for less than 100 quid. That's not just value, that's almost unreasonable. You can mock the brand all you like, but in reality, this watch punches well above its weight, day in, day out, and it actually deserves a little respect. It's earnest, it's bold, it's depth charge, minus the bit about destroying submarines. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.